Now, how many of us still remember that there was bushfires at the start of the year of 2020? In fact, bushfires happen every year in Australia. It's like this country has bushfires all the time. It's because of the dry climate we have here in the southern hemisphere. And every year, volunteer firefighters would come into those bushfire-prone areas to play a part in preventing these bushfires, in fighting these bushfires. Many of them were not compensated for their work. It's a voluntary work. So, should they be paid? On December 29, 2019, Prime Minister Scott Morrison has actually announced that volunteer firefighters that have been fighting fires for 10 days or more are eligible for a $6,000 compensation. They will also have holiday leave that will be extended up to 4 weeks or more. But that's only if they are identified as public servants. And firefighters are only really compensated prior to this announcement if they are injured while being on the ground and fighting fires. Otherwise, they get nothing. So let's jump right into it. Should firefighters be paid for fighting the bushfires when it's a voluntary job? Reason number one. The bushfires over the years have become even more extreme, more extensive, and they're occurring for an extended amount of time. There are now greater demands for volunteer firefighters. The amount of work that they're putting into fighting fires is a lot greater, and now they need to fight for much longer periods. Reason number two. Most of these volunteer firefighters are actually coming away from home to the bushfire-prone areas from their own money that they need to spend on flights, to spend on accommodation out of their own pockets to fight the bushfires. Some of these voluntary firefighters are also self-employed. Many of their families are actually suffering financially. And after returning back home, it's also questionable whether or not they can return back to work after taking such an extended period of time away from work. Reason number three, the compensation payment of $6,000, it's only a temporary solution. It doesn't actually resolve the permanent problems that are associated with these firefighters that are dedicating their time, their efforts to protect our nation. Now that we have considered the arguments for compensation payments for volunteer firefighters, let's consider the opposing arguments. Reason number one, these voluntary firefighters are contributing voluntarily. It's voluntary work, voluntary contribution. It is the spirit of volunteering. The Emergency Services Minister of New South Wales, David Elliott, says, anyone who is saying we have to pay them doesn't understand the ethos of volunteering. Reason number two, volunteers don't want to get paid. Financial compensation is not what volunteer firefighters are looking for. The loud and clear message of volunteering is to contribute for the sake of one's good intentions. Reason number three, Scott Morrison's scheme with the financial compensation for volunteer firefighters is not rolled out across all states in the nation. It's criticised for being too narrowly focused on New South Wales alone. What about firefighters that have come from Queensland, from Victoria? What about Western Australia? And Northern Territory and Tasmania? Don't forget about them. I hope you found that useful. I hope you learned a thing or two. Make sure you use some of that information in your persuasive writing. Make sure you use arguments in one point of view. Don't jump to the other side. I hope you convince your audience. Remember, don't study harder, just study smarter.
Thank you for watching. Click here to subscribe.
Click here to see the last video.
And click here for more videos.
Until next time,
bye!